Well, my desktop's a little messier than usual, but that's okay. So for this, I just want to quickly go over codecs, um, namely what to use if you're using a camcorder. Because with the EA50 and the FS100 and C100, there are both proprietary as well as legacy codecs that are associated with them. So in order to get your projects to properly record, I'm just going to walk you through this really quick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call up Avid. Whoops, there we go. And this one I'm going to call codecs, I guess. All right. So Avid is thinking about it. Avid will show up in a moment. Yay. All right. Now it's going to ask me which project. I'm going to call this, like I said, codecs. So I'm going to create a new project. I call it codecs. And I'm going to switch it over to 24 frames per second. I think that's right. Yeah, it should be it. I'm going to hit create. And then there's my bin. Alright, so I'm going to call this one Sony. EA50. But the EA50 and the FS100 are essentially the same codec. New bin, I'm going to call this Canon C100. And then new bin, I'm going to call this DSLR. And then new bin, I'm going to call this sequences. All right. So I guess to start off with, I'll just get the Canon C100 footage. All right. Again, what I'm going to use is I'm going to use the AMA rather than trying to transcode. So I'm going to go to my source browser. I'm going to go to the date that I selected for the folder. Here's the C100 footage. I don't know why it's coming up as There's MTS1 or 0 and MTS1. Whoops, I want to bring them both in. There we go. And link. And now when I click on it, yep, there's my C100 footage. All right. So for next, I'm going to go to Sony. Back out of this really quick. So I do want to go here, but I also want to get out of the C100. I'm going to go to the EA50 and DVC HD and stream. And this actually should be going to the EA50, so link. Alright, so if I click on that, There's my EA50 footage. All right. Next, I'm going to close this out. And I'm just going to go to my Canon footage. All right. I'm going to come down here. And what I want to grab are the .mov files as opposed to the thumbnails. So I've got that. And I'm going to hit, I believe it's Command. Command should bring in the movie files. I'm sorry, should allow me to select which files I want to bring in. It's funny because it looks like the thumbnails can't be brought in anyway. So there we go, link. And if I go to DSLR, there are my files. All right, so I got that, I've got that. All right. So with this, I'm just going to very quickly edit this together. I'm not syncing any audio, so I'm just going to come by 15 frames. Actually, no, I got to come back by 12. Sorry about that. The reason why it's 12 is because it's 24 frames per second. So mark in, and I'll just bring this till we get to the right one. All right, so then we'll mark out. We'll bring this over, and this is going to go to sequences. All right, so now I have this. Now I'm going to go to the Canon C100, and that's the wrong one, that's the right one, that's the wrong one, that's the right one. Sorry about that. Yeah, so I'm going to go back to DSLR, and what I'm looking for now is the continuation of that, because I just snapped a little bit. And I'm wondering if this is it. Yep, that's it right there, because it's on the computer. All right. So what I had Danielle do is I had Danielle open the file. And this is the file that opened. All right. And I'm actually going to go into a little bit more detail about this. All right. Otherwise, it just seems rather nebulous. All right. So with this, when we were doing, actually I did that wrong. That's the FS100. So let me undo that really quick. And that's also the other thing. I also don't try to hide anything. When I make a mistake, I acknowledge that I made a mistake. And I sort of kind of leave it in the video. Because if I'm figuring it out, chances are you're going to be figuring it out as well. All right. So that's the Canon. That's the Canon. No, that's not the Canon. That's the Canon, and that's the Canon. All right. So with this, this is the wrong file. Yay. Yep. That's the right file right there. And I already marked that in. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring this down again. It's awesome when I manage to confuse myself. So yeah, that is the FS100 / EA50. So the point that I was trying to make with this was you don't want to have it on 1080-24 FX. You want to bring it down to 1080-24 FH. All right, and it's also the same thing if you're doing the 1080 by 30. All right, you don't want the FX. The FX, I believe, is the XAVC codec. which is Sony proprietary and also legacy. What you want is the more generic FH for both the 30 and the 24 frames per second. All right. So there's that, and also I'm just going to go to the C100 really quick. Because with the C100, I've got that, which I'm going to bring in. That's just the footage that we shot. And then, again, that's also the footage that we shot for the FS100. This is the proper one. This is the one that we want. So I'm going to bring this up by 12 frames. Mark in, and then like right about there. That's the test footage that we did. All right. Now I'll go back to the DSLR. Now we'll go to the Canon footage that we shot. This one's a little bit lengthy because you really do have to hunt through the menus to be able to get to where you need to go. So again, I'm going to go 10 and then 1, 2. So that brings me up to 12, and then mark in. And I'm going to let it play. Actually, that's what I'm going to do. Just going to bring it up to here. I'm going to mark out. I'm going to bring it in. Okay, bring this to the end. Now that I have that selected, I'm just going to go to basically to where you need it. So we're scrolling all the way down, and what we want is frame rate. Okay, and once we go to frame rate, that will give us the ticket. So I'm going to mark in, I'm going to go down to frame rate, and then right here we're selecting 24. We're not selecting PF. What we're selecting is just 24. All right, so I'm going to mark out, bring that in. Okay, go over to here, go back to my DSLR, and yeah, that's the one that we need. This is it playing. All right. So that's the video on the computer itself. All right, and now for the obligatory test. Just let it play.
Or, you know, an irate New Jersey transit customer.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, so really quick.
Yeah, so I was making fun of New Jersey Transit. So that's playing.
Is we want to go to.
Yep, that does it. All right. So I'm going to clean this up and I'm going to export it. But essentially, with this is just a basic import of footage, but also going into the codec settings itself. So now we're almost there. Looks like we have a little bit of a hit here, and we do. So I got to fix that. Always got to watch for those hits, as they will show up when you least expect them. All right, there you go. And when I say hits, I'm talking about artifacts. All right, folks, that's pretty much it for this one.